We've got an answer when it comes to the drones, courtesy of the United States government under Joe Biden. I don't know if that means you're going to believe any of what is said and you're going to accept this. I don't. But I feel like we should at least give you the official answer. There are a lot of people now, hundreds and hundreds of sightings of these mysterious drones. And this shouldn't be hard, right? The government should be in a place where they can just say, you know what? This is X, Y, or Z. This is a foreign drone doing surveillance like the Chinese spy balloon. That would be really bad, but, that's possible, I suppose. Or it is civilians who are running some game and we need to track down what's going on here. Or it's the government. And we all think it's probably just the government, right? So that's been the approach for this whole time. It seems like we've all been waiting for the government to come forward and say, you know what? You know what the truth is here? This drone program is something that we haven't wanted to talk about, but we've now put out these new drones for everybody to see. And not that we want them to see them, but they've seen them. So there you go. And instead, what you get is Kirby, the White House comms guy. I don't know what his title is. He used to be the Pentagon spokesman. Here he is saying, yep, it's lawful and legal.
Assessment is that this is lawful, legal, commercial, hobbyist, and even law enforcement aircraft activity. Some of it's manned, some of it's unmanned. We absolutely acknowledge that a lot of these are probably drones, but they're flying legally, and it is legal to fly drones in non-restricted airspace as long as you're registered with the FAA. And there's thousands and thousands of these kinds of flights every single day. I think there's more than 1 million drones that are registered with the FAA just in the United States alone.
Okay, so I don't buy it. I don't think you buy it either. Why all of a sudden would this be a thing? Why all of a sudden would we be told that all these people are seeing drones? Suddenly there's all these. Was there like a sale, a Black Friday sale on drones in November? That's why we're all seeing all these drones. That makes no sense. Something else has got to be going on here. Oh, Buck, are you saying the government might lie to us? Well, here they are again.
Everything we're seeing to date, our assessment tells us that these are commercial drones, hobbyist drones, or law enforcement drones, all operating legally and lawfully. I mean, when people shoot video of that, Kate, I mean, you're seeing the lights on these things, the navigation lights. That's what's required if you're going to be flying in U.S. airspace at night, are navigation lights. So clearly they're being operated in a lawful and legal way, and we've seen nothing from their behavior, nothing, that tells us there's a public safety threat or a national security threat. I do want to add one point, though. We still got about 100 leads that the FBI is following up on. And if we learn something that contradicts that, or something more, something additional, something more specific, my goodness, we're going to come public and we're going to talk about it. We have been trying to be as transparent with the American people as we can. But I think it's also important to remember that there are 1 million drones registered with the FAA, and thousands upon thousands fly in U.S. airspace legally every single day, including in the Northeast Corridor. In fact, that's one of the busiest areas.
Okay. The numbers are only going to increase from drones like this. Yeah, we know that people can fly drones. We know that there are people who are involved in this stuff, and it's a hobby for them, or their business uses it, or whatever. Why is it so different now? Why are people seeing so many? Is it really what they're suggesting is this is just a social media hysteria, a form of contagion that is going on? And that's the whole explanation, that this is nothing to see here. Move along, folks. Nothing to see here. I don't think that you're going to accept that. I don't accept that. That's just a little too convenient, isn't it? Here's what I think is really going on with the drones. The government, some part of it, had a program. They tested out these drones, or they've been testing out these drones, and they figured, we'll just tell everybody there's nothing to see here, that there's, what do you mean drones? They're someone else's drones. And now that they've said that, even though people aren't accepting it, they don't want to admit that these were government drones or some government programs drones. And so they have to just keep going with what they got because they know that they'd have even less credibility if they said, turns out, Department of Homeland Security actually has this thing. I've seen this stuff about nuclear waste or, dirty bomb, trying to find that. I think you'd see a lot more drones and a lot more activity if that was going on. You would hope. Somebody if they thought there was a loose nuke in America, which I do not believe, I would think that this would be a much bigger operation, and it would be even harder for them to hide aspects of it. So that's what I see. But I'm open to being proven wrong. I'm open to being told that there's something else going on. So just let me know. Our sponsor here is Wide Moat Research. In 2016, Brad Thomas was tapped to become an advisor to the president for good reason. He's an expert in the world's largest asset, bigger than stocks and bonds combined. It's let him amass over $1 billion in business transactions, launch his own New York Stock Exchange-listed ETF, and develop a network of ultra-wealthy and connected clients. But his mission is to help ordinary folks in the stock market with the insights that he has gained. So he's opening membership to his research in a whole new way. And this comes after some in the past would have seen 44% annualized gains over 5 years based on his recommendations and his proposals. So he wants to present you with his top investment opportunity now. He insists you must move your money into it, though, before the end of 2024. Go check this out, bradalert.com. He's agreed to share it with all my listeners, bradalert.com, paid for by Wide Moat Research, bradalert.com. Okay, so now, you know what I wasn't expecting? Because, Joe Biden during this whole drone thing is basically MIA. And so I sit here and I say to myself, who's the commander in chief? Donald Trump, really. He doesn't have the powers yet, but he is the de facto commander in chief. And I think everybody at some level recognizes that. When was the last time you saw Biden? He was in Africa on some boondoggle, and he fell asleep in a meeting. On video with everybody there. Now, I get it. The guy's ancient, so of course he's going to fall asleep. The fact that they made this guy president even to this point, though, it's so reckless, isn't it? Can we all just agree it's so reckless? But making Kamala the president, I think, would have been worse, but Kamala doesn't think so. She's out there to tell everybody that she is leading the "it's going to be okay, folks" chorus for the Democrats, trying to convince them that it's fine. Our spirit is not defeated, she says.
Our spirit is not defeated. We are not defeated. Let's be clear about that. We are strong. We are clear about why we are in this. You're willing to put in the hard work. And that work must continue.
I think it's pretty defeated, Kamala. I think the Democrats are in the midst of the biggest butt kicking. I don't just mean with the vote totals and what the actual election, and because I know Kamala got a lot of votes too. Whatever. I'm talking about the narratives, though, and what they can rely on going forward. The narrative machinery that is in place that they use to try to prop up some of this stuff. The Democrat corporate media is running for cover right now. MSNBC, CNN, New York Times. What are they supposed to do? How are they going to get their message across? They're not as powerful as they once were. The people have woken, more and more people at least, have woken up to the fact that they lie. They cannot be trusted. They're not doing journalism. They're doing activism. And so they are inherently engaged in a deception and in something that is fraudulent. So I think that's a part of this as well. And I think that the Democrats don't have the same tools of propaganda at their disposal, certainly not as effective tools as they once did, and they're freaking out. And Kamala telling them all it's going to be fine. I'm sorry, that doesn't pass. That's not good. I thought she was going to go to UC Berkeley or something and become, now that's too smart of a school. One of the second or third tier, like one of the UC schools that you don't know where it is. There's a lot of them, right? UC, I don't know, some place somewhere in California that I can't think of right now. Is there a UC Burbank school? I don't know, maybe. So instead, though, they're saying she's going to be the governor of California. And I have to say that to me seems very plausible, because if Gavin Newsom can be governor of California, as horrible as he has been, yeah, sure, Kamala could become the governor of California, too. This is a uniparty state. It's a one-party state. So if the Democrats want to get behind her there, then it doesn't matter what Republicans think in California. So there's no check on the madness. So, yeah, maybe she could be the governor of California. Here's the thing about that, though. That means to me, I mean, if she's governor of California, that means at some point she can run for president again. And I think that's a great thing. I think that would be very helpful for Republicans, because DEI is not defeated. It is not gone forever, but it has taken some major losses. It is in remission, I like to say. It is at a low point, at a nadir. And is that how you say that word? I think that's right. NADIR. So DEI is at a low point, and it will come back, though, and it will become something that is a major rallying cry for the Democrats. But it, as an idea, has received a substantial smackdown in this last election, because Kamala Harris, I think, represented a more clear and aggressive DEI agenda as a candidate and as her platform than what we've seen before. So they're going to try to find a way to resurrect this. There's no question about that in my mind. But to me, it's just and Naval Ravikant had a great tweet about this. The guy's a thinker. He's a Silicon Valley, big dog from Silicon Valley, important guy. And he said that Marxism is the religion with 1,000 faces. It's so true. And DEI is one of the faces of Marxism. DEI is just a version of the basic Marxist approach, which is take the malcontents and the discontents in society, tell them that they have no accountability for their unhappiness, that it's someone else's fault. And then the people telling them that say, give us enough power and we will punish the people who have made you malcontents, made you unhappy, oppressed you. And they, of course, don't really do that. They just want to accrue more power for themselves. They don't make anything better. They make everything worse. And that is the essence of communism. That is the essence of Marxism, of socialism. So, yeah, that is where DEI is. Again, let's talk about the Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense situation. But first, I was shooting pretty well recently out at the range. You could see I put it out on X, hitting those plates, 20 yards, 6 for 6. I'm not saying I'm, amazing or anything, but I'm like pretty good. Better than a lot of the randos on X who are telling me do this or do that. I'm like, buddy, you can't outshoot me. Unless you were somebody who was really trained in the military or really trains as a civilian. Trained, not shoots once a year. Anyway, but I also use the Mantis X, which is my X factor, if you will. It's why my shooting has been getting better and better. High tech, easy to use. You don't blow a bunch of money on ammo by sending rounds into the dirt because you're not on target for your first 10 minutes at the range. Mantis X lets you get dialed in. Great gift for yourself or that shooter in your family this holiday season. Go to mantisx.com. That's MANTISX.com. Well, the swamp has been unable to stop Pete Hegseth. A big part of it is that Donald Trump has completely rallied behind him. Here's what he said.
I think Pete Hegseth is making tremendous strides over the last week. He's going to be great. Look, he went to Princeton, he went to Harvard, he was a great student there, but he really was, from the first day I met him, all he wanted to talk about was military. He's just a military guy. I think it's a natural. This was my idea. And Pete Hegseth gave up a lot because he was going big places in Fox, big places, a lot of money. And he didn't even hesitate. When I said, do you want to do this? He said, absolutely. I said, if it doesn't work out, you'll never have the opportunity that you have right now in terms of the world of entertainment or business, whatever you want to call it. You'll never have that opportunity again. In fact, it could be just the opposite because it's nasty out there. He said, I don't care. I have to do it for my country. He gave up a tremendous amount. If this didn't work, it would be a tragedy.
Now, I understand that at some level, this is just about the Pentagon not wanting, and the swamp and the system not wanting somebody coming in with the mandate and the backing to do big things, major things, to change things up. So that's a part of it. That's a component of all of this. But I also think that there is an understanding from Trump and his team that if the media was able to derail the Hegseth nomination, they would have then moved on to RFK Jr. next. This is it's just another scalp. It doesn't matter whether or not it changes anything policy-wise, although they obviously want to stop the Trump agenda. But really, it's just about the Democrats feeling like they have some means of trying to obstruct and stop this Trump administration from getting what it wants. And so that's why it was so important to push Pete through, even through with all the opposition. I know Pete well. He's a dedicated guy. He loves the military, truly. And he loves the men and women in uniform, wants to always pursue and seek their best interest. And Trump has rallied behind him. So I think Pete's going to get through. RFK Jr., I think, is going to be more of a challenge than people realize right now. We're going into the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. Going into the Kwanzaa, of course. Cannot forget Kwanzaa. Going into the holidays, and the media is going to come back from all of this. And I think they're going to dig in against RFK Jr. in a big way, which is pretty amazing because I know what they're going to say. Oh, he's not qualified. But the truth is, think about the people that they thought were qualified to be in charge of health agencies, et cetera, in the past. People like Fauci, little Fauci, effectively a religious figure, right, for people. That's what Fauci became. That's why you could say, you got to mask up and you got to watch me on MSNBC. And even though I lie and am wrong about everything, you will still worship me because you are dumb libs and you don't think for yourself. You're part of the hive mind. He could even say that to them. They'd say, I love Fauci. He's amazing. They don't care. It's all the same. As long as they get to worship at the Fauci altar, they're fine with it. But he was a major health guy, right? At NIAID, National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, which is part of NIH. Not even at CDC. CDC, there was some other guy, Dr. Redfield, I think was his name for a while in the COVID. And they were wrong about everything, too. So what are we so worried about? Have the health authorities made us healthier? So how are they going to be so much better, or how would they be? How would maybe RFK Jr. be so much worse than they were? If anything, they're not. These agencies don't make us healthier. They have a lot of really pointless and poor recommendations. Americans we have a lot of nationwide systemic illnesses, particularly around things like obesity and heart disease and type 2 diabetes and all these challenges. Are they helping with any of this? No. Are they holding Big Pharma accountable when Big Pharma transgresses? I'm very honest about this. I think Big Pharma does some great things too. And anybody who has a parent who's on, certain drugs that are incredible, or anyone who's had a really remarkable success in their fight against cancer, I think also realizes Big Pharma also does great things. It's not all bad. I know everyone likes to beat up on Big Pharma. People who do that are wrong. They're being demagogues. There are wrong things that Big Pharma does, but we need to separate these things, right? Pushing OxyContin on people and saying it's not addictive, which they did for a while, for years, that's wrong. That's horrible. Coming up with new diseases to clear people. New drugs to clear people's arteries of heart disease. Yeah, that's a great thing, right? Some of these changes that have happened are remarkable because of what these agencies are able to accomplish. So, I'll continue to harp on this issue, but I just think that RFK Jr. is somebody who we could see a really strong opposition to from the media because of what he represents. This Christmas and Hanukkah season is a time of hope and peace for many, but for those in Israel facing the ongoing war, it's a time of fear and uncertainty. The hardships are felt by everyone, with many people struggling to afford food and basic necessities. During this holiday season, many living through the war in the Holy Land are grieving the loss of loved ones while also enduring isolation and hunger. We must not let them be forgotten by the rest of the world. That's why I've partnered with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. Your special holiday gift to the fellowship helps provide a Hanukkah food box filled with basic necessities and essentials to bring nourishment, warmth, and comfort to someone in need. Give the gift of hope and answered prayers this holiday season. Go to supportifcj.org to donate now. That's supportifcj.org or call 888-488-IFCJ. Thanks for being here on the Buck Brief. Shields high.